And welcome along to Friday Football Focus, and we're turning our attention to youth football and, well, some pretty good success, Tony, a couple of weeks ago.
It's brilliant because I got a text message from Nigel Shimon, who was, I think his son's playing, Chris will tell us in a minute, was away, and he says, Tony's great things happening here, and, just give you the information and fine, but it was just the wrong time, and, we wanted to get Chris, and I'm glad Richard's come up as well, just to find out exactly what went on. But
just introduce our guests fully then.
I will. One of my favourite players, I always speak highly of him, was Chris Higgins. and one of my favourite joiners is Jacko, who has come up. They're doing some great work behind the scenes, and it's just
on the
nice
pitch
to see
and with the wood.
And the wood. He's got a bit to get close to me, but he's getting there. He's working on it, Jacko.
Training.
He's all right.
You're getting old.
Well, first off, Chris, tell us what happened 2 weeks ago, because Manchester United, I believe you give them a bit of a...
Yeah. We made a link with Man United, obviously, through Mike Jolliffe. So we got asked to go and play a development team that they've got. We went over, we took the kids out of school for a Friday, flew them over, went to Carrington, played a game, and Carrington was amazing. We have to say to the kids, don't get overwhelmed with it. It's only a badge. You're good enough to play this team, and as it was, we played them and played them off the park. We played 325 minutes. The first 25 minutes we were 2-0 up, hit the post 3 times, which was amazing. And it just went really well. The kids' levels come right up. It was really good, really good.
Now, this is an elite setup at the moment. It's not the School of Excellence. Where has this idea come from? Because Mike Jolliffe's been kicking around for quite a while, hasn't he?
Yeah, Mike's been coming to the Isle of Man for over 10 years now. He wrote a syllabus up for Union Mills, which has produced a couple of real good players. I think we all know who they are. Union Mills had a lot of success with the syllabus that he wrote out for them. So it's come across as a conversation that me and Mike had 2 years ago on why is the Isle of Man not produced a professional player. He couldn't understand it because Mike's done his research. Per head of population, the Isle of Man have more people playing grassroots football than what they have in the northwest of England, and they're producing academy boys all the time. So me and Mike got our heads together. We got Jacko on board and Nigel Shimon, and it's just, to be honest, it's just gone from strength to strength.
This is the Shimonator, yes?
This is the Shimonator, but something like this, it costs a lot of money. I know what the FA have to look to find for senior players, and then a lot of the development centre or School of Excellence comes from the parents' funding. Jacko, your son's been involved in that.
Yeah.
It's a costly exercise, isn't it? How are you doing it?
We have got private funding. We've gone out with our cap in our hands to big companies, and a lot of them really good support from them. It's probably about £16,000 to £18,000 to get this up and running for this first year, isn't it? The idea is to get the kids away, try to play academy teams, try and play champions of grassroots football, and we've had quite a lot of success. We've had very good success playing these teams, but obviously it all costs money. We don't ask a penny from the parents.
Yeah.
We don't give the parents any promises as well. We don't say we're going to get your kid into an academy, we're going to do this. What we're doing is we're trying to prepare the kids with the syllabus that Mike's give us, to prepare the kids so when they go to an academy, they don't just go and they're just one of 20. We want them to go over there and excel. And I think this is what the Isle of Man's missing.
It's sometimes, like when you can go into an environment like that, you shrink.
Yeah.
We're trying to prepare.
We've seen it with the boys, Jacko, haven't we? We've seen when we play these big games, some of these kids are wanting to, say nasty things to them and stuff like that. And we've had a couple of lads maybe faking an injury or not being up for it. And that's what we're trying to prepare the kids that you're going to get this language.
Is part of it then a mental barrier? You mentioned earlier, and I picked up on it, that it's only a badge. You were talking about the Man United badge. At the end of the day as well, looking at it another way, it's only a game of football.
Well, yes.
Exactly. I mean, you wouldn't believe the amount of talent we've got in the Isle of Man. We have got loads of talent, and my biggest gripe in the Isle of Man is I have seen, and this is, you've probably seen it and you, that we have so much talent that when they get to 13, 14, they've got nothing to aspire to. We haven't got an academy over here, so they've got nothing to aspire to. And I think that as a nation, I think we let the kids down a little bit, because kids who have got a ball from school and kicking a ball around, and the parents are telling them to get in, they still want to kick the ball around. I think we're doing these kids an injustice, because they want to make football their profession. And we've got nothing from, say, 12, 13 that they can aspire to.
Maybe the wrong question to ask you two, but you were one of the greatest players I've seen in Manx football, Chris, and you were never coached. Johnny Palmer, never coached. Nick Hurt, never coached.
I think
what is it now?
Football's changed dramatically.
Professionally,
it's changed. If you think of likes of I'll say your United, your Brian Robsons and players like that, they were professionals, but I think the professional side of it now has changed dramatically. Their diets, their sports science. This is something that I'm wanting to try and look into, to try and implement into our academy as well, like nutritions, things like that, and overuse injuries. Like the kids at the minute, they're doing so much. A lot of these kids that we've got, they've just started high school. They're getting introduced to all these different sports. We're having a few little problems with overuse injuries and what have you, but we'll get over this. I think we'll get over it. But
sorry, Jack. I think that some of the schools put a lot of pressure on these kids to get their school to get their sports colours. Do they call it now sports colours? And the kids are in the dinner hour. They're doing rugby. They're doing cricket. They're doing every sport going, and then they're not getting enough time to eat, Tony, and rest. Yeah. We say to them, go home and play on your PlayStation. Just go and chill out and rest. Because when we come to train, it's intense training. And if the kids haven't eaten right at school, you can see it in the training. And then when we're doing combination work, it breaks down because they're tired. They're tired.
Rest is an essential part of any sporting regime, isn't it? I mean, we're not saying kids just play on the PlayStation and don't do anything. We're talking about kids here who are active.
Yeah. Well, we had an American guy over, and he'd done a lot, Jack, of Omaha he was from
in America,
and he was saying that he's right into all that, isn't he, with the kids and overuse injuries. And he said you wouldn't believe how much sleep kids need. They need more than 7-8 hours, for them to grow.
That's important. Well, that's the science side of it. We're looking into it as well to try and help these kids in our academy. It's weird because he was a very clever person. He was a doctor. He studied neurology. He said, well, when in America, what they do is they put kids under pressure to see how this part of the brain reacts, because adrenaline kicks in and then it reduces that. It's complex. It really is complex, and it's something that we're looking into. We put the kids under a bit of pressure just to see how they cope. What they'd be like when they go to these academy teams. They're under pressure. We go and play the grassroots champions. They get put under pressure, immense pressure, and some of the kids cope with it brilliantly. Some of the kids think, "Oh, I don't want to be part of that," but it's really good. We're getting there, aren't we?
Yeah.
How did the game end then against Man United? Do you remember the first half?
Sorry, I went off on one there. Sorry.
2-0 and then
sorry. I mean, the facilities are fantastic. Going to Carrington, it was just an eye-opener for the kids. They had an indoor facility that was as big as the bowl, and then they had the bowl right alongside it. They had 12 changing rooms in this little bit, all with showers, one with Jack.
And then you had the first team over
there. I take it they were all 3G, both were 3G.
Oh, it was amazing. But back to the football, we were 2-0 up, weren't we, in the first 25. Second 25, I think we held our own.
They had a dodgy decision, didn't they?
I couldn't believe they had the
here we go.
Yeah, honestly, I'm not joking. I got told off, to be honest, by one of the coaches, because I said the referee, come on, it was 10 yards off. It was, and they scored, made it 2-1. But we hit the post in the 325s. We hit the post and crossbar 5 times, and I've never been in a game that I've ever done that. But there was some fantastic performances from the kids. I told them before they went out, it's only a badge. That's all it is. It's a badge. That's all it is. Yeah. And they went out, and we end up losing 4-3. And Paul Louis, at the end, he went in, and the fella went to smash it. The keeper was just about to get it, and Louis put his body on the line, didn't he? Just to try it, and it skimmed off his head and went in the top corner. Well, they thought they won the Champions League, United, because there must have been 17 of them, 17 coaches all out watching. When we were 2-0 up, they all started coming out of the academy thinking, who are these boys? Because we were playing them off the park. You've got to remember as well, we got the playing at 5 o'clock. Everyone's up at 5 o'clock in the morning. We didn't play the game till 6:30, where all these other kids have had some rest. So we
I think we just like fatigued because it had been a long day for them. But there's something that we're gonna look into for travel arrangements and things like that. Try not to put them in that sort of pressure. It's all about preparation, isn't it?
What sort of reaction then did you get from the Manchester United coaches?
Well, fantastic, really. We've got another invite to go back. So that there's not many clubs that get to go back to Man United. So yeah, they said they liked a few of the lads. Mike's wrote a couple of what's it called, Jack? Things to about the kids, what they're like, socially, what they're like, bit of profile, socially what they're like, technically how good they are. So United have got a few names. And then on the Sunday we played Bootle Boys. First half wasn't so good, was it? Really?
No, we rested quite a few.
Yeah, we rested our best players, and to give the other lads a game. But then we ended up winning 2-0, didn't we?
2-0 in the
but
end.
Previous to that, when we went away before, we played Tranmere's Academy. We beat them 5-2.
2-1 that was.
Was it?
Tranmere
was 2-1, and then we played the national champions.
3-1.
Yeah, they haven't been beaten for 3 years, and we went over. And honestly, but what I do notice about these kids, they're only 12, but you could take them anywhere. On the plane, the behaviour, they're like really honestly, they're like little pros. They are. There's never any hassle with any of them, Jacko, is it?
We went out when we went up to Skipton. We do a training programme up in Skipton as well. To incorporate it all into the same weekend. We went out for tea. We sat in the restaurant. We waited 2 hours. We didn't even know the kids were there because they were sat just talking amongst themselves, and obviously iPhones now as well. So the behaviour of the kids was impeccable. Like, and it's a credit to the parents and to them as well. So,
but we would like to start an under 8s.
I was just going to ask
an under
what's
10s.
next, yeah.
I mean, like what Jackie said, it's between 16 and 18,000. So if anyone's there listening and want to put some money into and believe in what we're doing, we really want to start 8s and 10s, don't we?
We will get a professional footballer out of it.
Yeah. I mean, what I would love to see, if we can get... My eldest went away to Northern Ireland to play with the COE. I think it was Swansea had a development centre there. So why hasn't the Isle of Man got a development centre? Why can't we get a professional club over here? Use the COE as a bit of a feeder to come and to have... I mean, me and Jack are only amateurs at coaching. When we've seen Mike, haven't we? We see how he does it. I've watched the Morecambe over that come down to Ramsey to the north this week. It's a different league when you go to professional coaching. It really is. I'm only coaching of people who I've learnt from. Rob Wakenshaw, Sam Kenny, unbelievable man. Rick Holden, Richard Hodgson.
Yeah.
So I'm only doing it from what I've been taught. But the professional game is another 3 steps higher, And
more, isn't it? It's
do you think that's something the Isle of Man FA need to look at? Because I've always said that the good young players are coming through, the coaches are there, but it's just important to develop the coaches as develop the footballers.
I would say there is definitely a place for Junior League football in the Isle of Man and the COE, but the only thing it's not is elite. It's not elitism. When we take kids away, you have to play all the kids. You have to give everyone the same game time and stuff like that. Where in an elite program, you just play your best players. Right. In our EDP, we've got 14 kids who train with us. We've got 9 who are in the program, and we've got 6 shadow kids, 5 shadow kids, haven't we? 5 shadow kids. Now these shadow kids, we keep training them for about 3 months, Jacko, don't we? Yeah. And if we feel that the levels aren't right or we can't take them any further, then we release them and try and get someone else in.
Right.
So it's elitism.
So what happens this year? Like you're under 12, so they'll go under 13s next year. Are you following them up to senior football, or what?
This is part of the programme. we want to get them, push them. Maybe another 2 years if they haven't been picked up. Then maybe we'll have to.
That'll be it then, won't it, Jacko?
Right. We start with a new group.
We've got coaches in line. Coaches ready to take under 8s and under 10s. We just need the funding.
Right.
That's all we need. And the coaches we've got are doing the UEFA B levels, Jacko, aren't they? And so everything is in place. But like I say, Tony, it just boils down to money.
Yeah, and it's the same, I think, in any sport, Tim, because obviously you're heavily involved. Football, you can't just go 1 or 2 years. You need to take a team.
It's like your cycling, and things like that. It's like an individual sport, but like you say, we do need a bit of funding to try and generate this elitism. Let's get a professional footballer from the Isle of Man. I know we've got a couple across at the minute, but let's see if we can get more, because we have got some talent on this island for kids football. We really have.
From all age groups, Jack, as well. Isn't it? I'm down at A United and I watch the 6s play, 7s, 8s, 9s. I go to Bemmerhague to watch some of the football there, and some of these kids have got real good talent, but it just seems to diffuse. They just don't seem to get to that level, do they? They get to 12, 13. What have they got to aim for?
I like Brian Callow when he had his little group.
Yeah, with Everton.
Yeah. We need that. We need that, but a couple of years younger, and bring them through. And that's what we should be. That's what we're trying to aim towards. Something along them lines.
There is a place for the junior league, isn't there? I mean, Steve Collister does some amazing work. Doesn't he? He sorts everything out. The COE, they have a lot of kids there, don't they?
Yeah.
There is a place for it. But we just think that there needs to be. If I could make a bridge, maybe not a bridge so people could come here, so we could get over there. If we could make a bridge or a link with a club to give us some kids something that they can aspire to go and play.
And I know it likes of. You have your Wigan come over. They've been coming over 7 years. They've only Adam Long's been going down there, and they've only just spotted him. You've got if your Everton's coming over, you've got your Red Sports.
You can mention Dean Pennington. I know you're staying away from it because you don't know where you are, but Mark's quite comfortable. His dad's quite.
We didn't want to mention Dean because he's the best kid. He's special, isn't he? Best kid I've seen, and I don't want to feel like he's under pressure. To be the first Isle of Man boy or whatever. I know he's unbelievable talent, isn't he? And his parents are really nice, aren't they? I've met Mark and really nice. So I don't want to put any pressure on him, but well done to Dean. Dean's works off that syllabus at Union Mills as well. He's at Corinthians with Fitzy, didn't he? And a few others. So I really hope Dean really does it.
So the ultimate really is a Kieran Tierney or someone like that, and he is a Manx-born footballer. He was only here for a few months. In his early years,
but final on Saturday, I was told.
He's regularly comes over. I don't know why we don't celebrate his achievement here on the island more, because he's a real role model for somebody getting to the top level, and who knows where he's going to end up in years to come. I know he's passionately Celtic, but I know Man United and others have sniffed around, haven't they?
Yeah. I mean, it'd be great for him to come and meet our kids, wouldn't it, Jacko? And he'd just even spend 5 minutes with them, tell them what it's like.
I think he would.
Yeah.
He does come back to the island, whenever he can.
You could be the best player in the world, Tim, but you need to have the right attitude.
Yeah.
Don't you? It all boils down to attitude. And if you haven't got the right attitude, no matter if you're the best player, you'll not get there.
Yeah, and that's true in any sport.
I bet he's got a great attitude.
I think sometimes with the kids as well, the kids are quite happy to go along and they're doing very well, but parents can be a bit pushy. Do you see that? Are you two the worst?
No.
At the end of the day, we've got passion.
We're in the firing line for all the parents, aren't we? If we release a kid, then we're the best in the world, aren't we?
A lot of these decisions are Mike's. Mike's come over. He assesses the kids. Certain kids aren't at the level where he is expecting. He assesses them every time we meet up. We went over 2 weeks ago. He's done an assessment on all the kids again.
Yeah.
So we're having more meetings with him within the week or so.
And I think there'll be. I mean, there is going to be at least 2, if not 3, kids that will come out of the EDP in the next 2 weeks. Yeah. They don't know who they are, but Mike will be giving them letters in the next 2 weeks. Just the way it is.
We've only got about a minute to go, but just want to focus in on away from the football, because anyone at an academy, there's a big drive, isn't there, about it's not just about sport, it's also about your education. You've still got to do all that as well.
Definitely. Education's a big thing in academy football. I was talking to one of the lads at Morecambe who come over to Ramsey, and Gary Sherry organised it through Ramsey Youth Centre, which I think was fantastic of Gary, because I'm a northerner, me, and I think the north of the Isle of Man gets let down. We haven't got any decent football pitches. They're all the 3-4Gs are up in Douglas, aren't they? Ramsey haven't got anywhere as a community. We haven't got a 3G pitch. We had the same AstroTurf pitch for 30 years. But I was talking to them, back on what you've just said, I was talking to the Morecambe lads, and they said that if they get a kid who is not doing it at school will ring them up and say, this lad, his attitude's wrong, or he's not doing his schoolwork. He'll come to training and they'll say, well, just sit out, because school's been on, sit out. He said he only has to sit out for 2 weeks, and then he's back at school. When he goes back to school, he's doing his reading, he's doing everything that he needs to do to play for Morecambe. Right. I think it's great.
Well, gentlemen, thank you very much indeed for coming up. I hope
you
get those 16
Congratulations to Corinthians as well.
Thank
you.
You
done well, didn't they?
They did. Tony, speak again tomorrow.